All right, Krystal, what are you taking a look at?
Well, guys, Senator Bernie Sanders is 80 years old. He has served in federal office for longer than Sagar has been alive. In his last presidential campaign, he suffered a heart attack, although it must be said he bounced back from it in a pretty astonishing way. And reportedly, he is considering running for president again. Here is the Washington Post with that scoop. Sanders has not ruled out another run for president if Biden does not. In it, they explain that Bernie's former campaign manager, Faz Shakir, sent out a memo to all the candidates Bernie has endorsed with guidance on how to respond to any attacks that they receive about Bernie's endorsement. Included in that guidance was this line, quote, "In the event of an open 2024 Democratic presidential primary, Senator Sanders has not ruled out another run for president, so we advise that you answer any questions about 2024 with that in mind." So what should we make of this? First of all, let me be clear. For me personally, if my choices are Biden, Trump, or Bernie, none of whom are spring chickens, I might add, it is not even a little bit of a hard choice. I would vote for Bernie's mummified corpse over either Biden or Trump. What's more, the fact that he would only consider running if Biden takes a pass or doesn't make it to the starting line, that maybe makes the whole flirtation kind of a moot point. Biden reportedly already told Obama that he is planning on running again, and assuming he is able, I do buy it. Dem elites know that Kamala is even more of a disaster than Joe Biden, and they would do a lot to avoid anything with even a whiff of an actual democratic process like an open primary would be, so I fully expect them to suck it up and stick with Joe if that is at all possible. But I still think it's worth reflecting on what it means that a man who should by all rights be able to enjoy his grandbabies and to sit back and reflect on the profound mark he's left on American politics still feels that there may be no other real alternative than for him to give it a third try. Bernie cracking the door open really lays bare the fact that there is no obvious successor to carry the banner of a populist universalist left politics. And guys, a look around the halls of Congress kind of proves the point. In the Senate, probably the next closest to Bernie ideologically is Elizabeth Warren, but her initial populist appeal has long faded into a bloodless technocratic approach, uncomfortable with challenging political power. Her presidential primary campaign quickly slid into hollow identitarianism and suffered from serious political missteps, like, for example, the whole DNA test situation, not to mention her seeming lack of candor when it came to Medicare for all and to Joe Biden's corruption. Warren's appeal only works with upscale wine track voters who are perfectly comfortable with a wide range of standard issue Democratic candidates. Now, if ever there was any doubt, Warren's decision to lie about Bernie being a secret sexist sealed her fate. Elizabeth Warren will not be Bernie Sanders' successor. In the House, you've of course got the Squad, a group of youngish members who have largely adopted the faddish way of approaching politics that is ascendant among the young left. Whereas Bernie's politics and rhetorical frame are pitched towards mainstream acceptance, crafted as they were during the time of mass communications and broadly shared American culture, and honed in Vermont at a time when the state was actually really conservative and staunchly Republican. AOC and co., they've responded to Twitter market incentives that push them towards the specialized and towards the niche. Those incentives mean that edginess is rewarded rather than the ability to generate broad support. The result is a tendency to lean into slogans that are seemingly designed to register the highest shock value but garner the least possible actual support, and a similar tendency to focus on issues that are the most hotly contested and the most divisive rather than those where, again, the left enjoys some broad support. Being a niche player, it's not without power. It can lead to holding a large amount of sway with a group of fervent supporters. And with our politics being as filled with apathy as it currently is, sometimes you only need a committed minority to accomplish big things. But being a niche player is not going to win you a national election. That's why even now, after all the smears of Bernie from the left and from the right and all the fear-mongering about socialism, Bernie still outperforms just about everybody in presidential primary polling in the Democratic Party. A recent Harris X poll had him polling above everyone in a theoretical Democratic primary save for the sitting president and sitting vice president. A YouGov poll from January had him second only to Biden. And Bernie consistently beats his closest ideological allies like Warren and AOC, in spite of his elder status and the fact that across 8 years and 2 tries, he was not able to get the job done. And guys, I do think that's worth mentioning too. Especially against Joe Biden, Bernie was not ultimately willing to speak the hard truths that were needed to actually win. He landed respectful jabs on some policy issues, but when it came to specifically detailing how campaign cash had led Biden to a career currying favor with the financial services industry, not to mention the familial lapses in integrity that have only become more of a problem for Joe Biden, Bernie just wasn't willing to go there. So while there are many things to admire about Bernie Sanders and to aspire to in his vision for the country, in the end, he did not have the killer instinct to close the deal. The fact that he ruled out running in a primary against Biden directly kind of says it all about just how far he will go to challenge this current iteration of the Dem powers that be. But let me close with this hopeful note. Heroes and opportunities can arise out of nowhere to meet the moment. Just think about Chris Smalls being reluctantly forced into being the face of the Amazon labor union effort and becoming the revolutionary that the nation's workers needed. Think about Bernie himself jumping into what appeared to be a Hillary Clinton coronation. I don't even think he thought he could win. And he ended up ushering in a left awakening that galvanized an entire movement. Senator Sanders deserves a successor who can shoulder the weight of leading that movement so that he can serve as an elder statesman and frankly enjoy his golden years. A third presidential run is too much of a burden to ask of any one individual. And by the way, we all deserve a politics that is not dependent on one extremely dogged 80-year-old man. And Sagar, I do think it's very telling, even though, listen, I think cable news is ripping us apart, dividing the country, making it impossible to function as a society, and making it impossible to know just what is true and what is false. But the good news is they are failing and they know it.
That is why we're building something new, a new mainstream, a healthier one, something more trustworthy, something that we are going to need in one of the most pivotal times in American history. We are building up here for the midterms, for the upcoming presidential election, but we need your help. So if you can help us out by becoming a premium member today at breakingpoints.com, we're trying to change America for the better and the entire world.
So what are you waiting for, guys? Go to breakingpoints.com and sign up and help us build a new mainstream.